Hi, everyone. I'm Jessica Glass, a doctoral candidate at Pennsylvania Western University in the Health Science and Exercise Leadership Program. Today, I'm going to be discussing with you guys operational wellness. It is a guide to help you guys learn how to use mind and body approaches to live a optimal way of living. So let's get started. So this is the things we're going to discuss today. We're going to review the objectives, understanding universal terms, physical or body approaches, mind approaches, the wellness wheel, and then you guys will create a personalized plan. So the objectives are to define and explain mind and body approaches. Then I want you to be able to demonstrate practical strategies by using these. You're going to identify a wellness wheel dimensions, and then we're going to apply those dimensions to a personalized plan. So to understand some common integrative and holistic healthcare terms, I have just a couple of them here for you. So the first one is integrative health, integrative care, or any similar term. So this is an approach that will combine one or more conventional healthcare methods, such as physical therapy or psychotherapy, in combination with a complementary health approach. So such as physical activity or mindfulness. And the point of this is to treat the whole person rather than one specific organ system. Then you have whole person health. Just like I just stated, this is to treat the entire person rather than saying, okay, you have an issue with your low back, and then we only focus on low back. We want to focus on everything. So that's where whole person health comes in. A wellness wheel is a guiding framework, and this is to provide multiple dimensions to take accountability for an individual's overall well-being. And it's a nice little visual aid that you can use in the future just to actually look at those dimensions, the domains and dimensions, so you can kind of utilize it as a checklist and you can see what has been taken care of, what needs the appropriate attention. And we're going to go through this as well as make our own plan based off of this wellness wheel. Well-being is a state of positive health and happiness encompassing various aspects of life. And holistic health is also another approach to wellness, considering the connectedness of all aspects of life. So the physical or body approaches that we're going to discuss today are physical activity, manual therapies, mobility training, and nutrition. So physical activity. Being military or a veteran, we all know what physical activity is. So whether through unit PT or just working out, we understand what physical activity is. Now, each branch is different and every unit is different also, but we all know what it entails. So strength training, mobility, aerobic activity, whether that entails biking, running, spinning class, hiking, ruck marches, all of that. And then you also have yoga, gardening, and many more. Really anything that is going to increase your heart rate, increase your cardiovascular system, your muscular skeletal system, and anything that is just improving your physical structure. Okay, but this can also include things just going out for a nature walk, doing household chores, mowing your grass with a push mower. There are many different things that you can incorporate to ensure that you are getting physical activity on a daily basis. Oh, and let me move my head. And anytime that you perform intensive movement, make sure you perform recovery after. This is going to help improve blood flow. It's going to help with your flexibility, your mobility, your range of motion, and it's going to incorporate a lot of different things, and we'll discuss that to give you guys some examples of things that you can do. So manual therapies. So there are a couple different types of manual therapies, and this could either be therapist-led, which are your physical therapies or massage therapy, where you go to a professional who's already trained in something, and they are the ones that use some type of tool or their hands to manipulate something within your body to help you feel better, whatever that is. So whether we are working on mobility, flexibility, or if you have pain in an area or you were injured and we want to work on that, then that's where you can go to a professional and do a therapist-led manual therapy. Now, there are also some things that you can do either on your own. So you can use integrative care where you see the professional and you also do a couple of manual therapies on your own, or this could just be on your own in general, whether or not you see a professional. So self-led therapies include stretching, foam rolling, and foam rolling can include an actual foam roller tool that you see here over on the bottom right. He is actually using a foam roller, but you could also use pool noodles. You could use frozen water bottles, lacrosse balls. You can even take two lacrosse balls and tape them together. So now you have two of them together. There are many different things you can do to get into the deep muscle tissue to help loosen that area up, feel better, get some blood flow in there. This helps with injury prevention as well as just feeling better and loosening up that tense muscle. And then massage techniques. All of these can easily, you can Google it and find different exercises. For example, you say, okay, I just worked out and I did squats. So I need to find something that is going to loosen up my low back, my hips, my upper legs. So you would research manual therapies or self-led manual therapies or massage techniques, stretching techniques, foam rolling on these areas. And it will give you a whole host of things that you can use to loosen up these areas. And this is what I was referring to after you perform an intensive movement and you want to perform some type of recovery. This would be perfect to facilitate that process. And mobility training. So mobility training is similar to manual therapies in the sense that this is great for recovery. So after you have performed physical activity, doing mobility training is great. Mobility training can also be used prior to working out to help loosen you up. And then it can just be its own physical activity in general. So for active duty, you guys are going to do unit PT, maybe, maybe not. Like I said earlier, all units, all branches, they're all very different. Also, I've noticed the higher up they get, or officers versus enlisted, unit PT can vary tremendously. So, if you're going to do unit PT and you're already doing like dynamic stretches prior to your physical training, this is something that you can do after you get home at the end of the day, or just if you decide to work out on your own. These are things that you can incorporate because unit PT may not be providing this for you. So doing this on your own is also great. For veterans, or even your family members, or if you don't really work out as much and you kind of want to get back into it, mobility training is also another great thing that you can incorporate. And that's what's going to start you at a baseline until you're able to work your way up. So to provide two different kinds, you have dynamic stretching, and these are things that you want to do prior to working out. These are going to be loosening you up, kind of moving a little bit more. So it's going to be arm and shoulder, wrist circles, leg, ankle, knee circles, hip rotations. Basically, it is repetitive. It's much quicker. It's basically just getting your blood flow pumping so you are able to do the activity that you are attempting to do. Now, after you're done with your workout, or if this is going to be your workout, doing steady movements with 30-second to 1-minute holds is where you really get into the deep stretches that is going to be opening up your joint areas. And the point of this, one, it loosens us up. So it helps with flexibility, but it also helps with our range of motion. And a lot of us, especially with us constantly being on our phone, or if we are at the computer on a daily basis, or a lot of times we are hunched over, right? So our shoulders are forward, our neck is forward, and we need to open ourselves up. So this is where mobility training comes in, doing those steady movements where you are pulling your shoulders back, working on your neck, you're holding this, and this is going to loosen you up, right? So because we do these repetitive overuse posture or things that we do that are basically limiting us to allow us to be able to move, we want to open up. We want to work on that. And how you do that is by increasing your range of motion. So getting into these positions, holding them for 30 seconds to 1 minute, that is what's going to help us. And this also helps with preventing injuries. And also, if studies have shown that if you do have some sort of pain, chronic pain, then this may also help to open up your range of motion so then you help and become more flexible and you can minimize a lot of joint pain. So an example of this is the hip flexor stretch. And as you see, I'm doing it right here with a bunch of Marines. This is basically you get into this position and you are going to relax, right? Make sure you breathe. Do not forget to breathe and hold this position. And then you flip to the next one, right? So it's a nice cool down exercise that you can do. But you're also going to want to incorporate other exercises. So like I said earlier, simply searching on the internet for mobility training exercises like this that improves range of motion are things that you can do. Balance and stabilization exercises are also a part of the mobility training umbrella. So this is very similar, but a lot of maybe standing on one leg and bracing, using your core. All of this is going to open you up, strengthen those inner muscles that you are not really used to doing, that you tend to work out when you are performing some type of physical activity. So utilizing mobility training is definitely going to help out with this. And of course, nutrition. So anytime someone talks about physical approaches, you should have known that we're going to talk about nutrition. I can spend an entire slideshow presentation on nutrition, but I just want to touch base on a couple of major players. So increasing fruits and vegetables, increasing water intake. This is, of course, some things that you're going to want to do. And the purpose of this is because you need to make sure that you are getting the nutrients in your body. This includes vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, fiber, all of these things that your body needs to fuel you to either participate in all of the training that you're doing in the military or just in general. So even for us veterans who, are not working out as much as we used to while we we're in the military, it is still good for us to do. Limit added sugars. A lot of people were already aware that sweets and sodas and other unhealthy foods, we understand we need to limit that. But I also want you to be aware of added sugars, okay? So added sugars that are in products that we typically wouldn't think of. So a great example is yogurt. So if you look at the back of yogurt, you think, oh, great, I am consuming something healthy. I'm so proud of myself. But flip it over, look at the nutrition label. And so here's an example. To the right, you see there's a serving size of 1 cup. So you take the 1 cup, you're so proud of yourself, you're sticking with your calories. So go down and look at the total carbohydrates. If it has fiber, great, we want that, right? The total carbohydrates, there's 27 grams. This is fine. Depending on what the product is, you're going to want carbohydrates because that's what's going to give you the energy to not only go through your day, but to also perform at the level that you need to just being in the military, right? So you're going to go down to the total sugars. All fruit and vegetables are going to have sugar in it, which is fine. It's fruit sugar. It's healthy, quote unquote, sugar that is okay to consume. What I want you to be wary of is the added sugar that they include. A majority of this sugar is going to be your high fructose corn syrup or white processed bleached sugar, right? This table sugar that we do not want to consume. If the way that I look at it is if I want some sweets and I want ice cream at the end of the day, I understand that I am consuming this in moderation. But throughout the day, if I'm trying to eat healthy, I don't want to consume added sugar that I'm not getting the same satisfaction that I would get with ice cream. So I'm going to try to minimize the included however many added sugars as possible. And an easy way to do this, going back to the example with yogurt, look at the back of the yogurt that you consume. And if it says includes 12 grams of added sugar, try to find a substitute. Try to find another product. It could be yogurt as well, but try to find another product that has a lot less sugar. And right then and there, you're already minimizing your sugar. So to move on to protein, a lot of people kind of get this confused. They always think it is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, right? In pounds. And that is not the case. It is actually in kilograms. And remind you, kilograms is 2.2, not 1-to-1 ratio. So to give you an example of this, if you have a 150-pound person, then if you were to take 150 and you were divided by 2.2, they are 68 kilograms. That is the number, 68 kilograms. You're going to want to multiply that by however much grams of protein you need. So the average person, the general population, is going to want to consume 0.8 grams per day of protein. However, there are some, such as older individuals, like some of our veterans, athletes like you all, or those who want to lose weight, who are actually going to want to consume a lot more, 1.2 to 2 grams. So just figuring out where you are, figure out how many pounds you are, what is your actual kilogram weight, and then figure out how much you're actually going to be consuming. Sometimes it's a lot more than we thought, and sometimes it's a lot less. Sometimes, especially guys that are in the gym and they're Olympic weightlifting or they're weightlifting and they're want to bulk up, a lot of times they think, oh my gosh, I need so much. But actually, by the time you figure it out, it's not as much as you think. And the average population, same thing. So just be mindful of that. All right, and now I want to talk to you guys about some mind approaches. So we've gone through the physical approaches. Now let's go on to the mental aspect of it. So for this, this just focuses on your thoughts, your emotions, your mental well-being, your awareness of your environment, and just the overall connection between your mind and body. So we're going to go through some mind approaches, and to help facilitate this, I'm also going to introduce the wellness wheel. So some mind approaches, there are endless strategies for mind and body approaches, and I've provided a lot of them here, and we're going to go through each one. And if you have ever done it, or if you haven't done it, or if and you want to try these, or if you have done it, maybe you did it a little bit differently. So go ahead and when I go through this, see if something piques your interest and if you would like to try it out. One might work for you where another doesn't. So try to go through each one. And each one can be done just throughout the day, throughout time. So definitely check them out. So the first one I want to discuss with you guys is mindfulness. This is a practice of being present and aware of your thoughts. So this can be done sitting, like you see over here to the bottom right, where it is more of a meditation style that people facilitate mindfulness with. And this can definitely be the case. You can definitely do it this way. You can also lay down and close your eyes, working on your breathing exercises and intentionally focusing on nothing. Or if thoughts come into your mind, acknowledge them, you're aware of them, but let them go without judgment. You are there to try to get your mind at a steady, positive, harmonious state. That is the point of that. However, also be aware that a lot of times we space out, right? So for example, if we are cleaning our gun, rather than spacing out or thinking about all these things that we have to do, which in the end also adds stress to ourselves, this is when we can use mindfulness. So we're cleaning out our gun, and instead of going out of space, focus on your gun, right? So while you're cleaning it, do you notice the metal is smooth, or do you notice there are any cracks or divots in the metal, right? Do you smell the metal aroma in the air, right? Do you feel it? Do you smell it? Do you look at it, right? So take those, use all of your senses when you are doing something, and that is a perfect example of using mindfulness while doing something that you're already doing. This can also be used for driving, during your workouts, when you are outside, really doing anything. So even on ruck marches, when you're on a ruck march, instead of allowing your mind to wander or to race, use this time to look at things. What do you actually see? Go through your body. Is there anything aching? Does anything feel okay? Are you in a good spot, right? So use this time to intentionally focus on what it is that you are doing. So meditation, kind of, I already touched on it a little bit. This is an intentional focus, but where you are actually sitting still or laying down and trying to focus on nothing, right? So when a thought comes into your head, yep, you acknowledge it, but just let it go without any judgment. So you're aware of it, let it go, right? If it comes back to, notice that maybe later you might have to address that, but in that moment of that practice, let it go. So, guided imagery, this can be incorporated into meditation, into journaling, or just anywhere to separate yourself from a situation. So, this is basically where you create a mental image that makes you happy or relaxed. So, guided imagery can be a powerful thing, and it's anything that you that can help you feel that you're in harmony or in a peaceful spot. So, whether that is the beach, or in the mountains, or hanging out with your kid, right? It is the point of picturing something that can calm you down. And this is a great technique to use for if you're in a stressful situation to where you either are building up too much tension and too much stress, or you need a breather and you can't do that, use guided imagery. So there's a little story that I want to bring up about guided imagery. There were two prisoner of wars in Vietnam. It was a major and a colonel, and they used guided imagery to maintain their sanity by mentally playing golf. So aside from helping them not go crazy by being a POW in these horrific conditions, they were able to, after they were released from being a POW, they actually improved their golf scores. So this is something that you focusing on it, this can still help you mentally and even physically beyond. So giving you something to do. Again, guided imagery is you can also use it, say you are ruck marching, or you are on a plane traveling to deployment, or if you are just at home and need a mental break using guided imagery. Think of something that can get you to calm down. All right. Some breathing exercises. So this is something that can also be used during meditating, doing guided imagery, or again, just anytime you need a break. Focusing on your breath. And there's many different types of techniques that you can use, but a simple, easy one to do is taking a deep inhale, holding it for 2 seconds, and then exhaling all the way out. And then do that a couple of times. With breathing exercises, it improves your lung function, it lowers blood pressure, and it helps relax you and reduce stress and tension. So if you want a physical activity while incorporating a mental aspect, this is where yoga and Pilates comes into. So earlier when I was discussing physical approaches, I did bring these up, and I also brought up mobility training. All of these you can do to work on both. It is physical, but it's also mental. So it's a way that you can incorporate both of them in one session. And progressive muscle relaxation is another physical movement that incorporates the mental aspect. This is simply tightening and then releasing different muscle groups to relieve stress and tension that is built up. And lastly, I want to discuss reflective journaling. So this is writing down your thoughts, emotions, experiences, and insights on paper to understand yourself and your actions. It helps you analyze what happened, how you responded, what you learned, and can be used to set goals to better handle future situations. So using this is great anytime. So now I want to explain the wellness wheel. This is a visual aid to illustrate the interconnected dimensions of overall well-being to create a balanced lifestyle. So there are many different wheels out there. The Veterans Affairs has one, the Health Department has one, but all in all, they have similar or the same dimensions, and I just like to use this one, but it's up to you. Simply searching for wellness wheels and find which one works for you. All right, so we're going to go through each dimension. And while I'm doing this, I want you to just think of, excuse me, something that works for you. So as we were talking, a lot of my presentation discuss physical approaches that you can use. So think about what you could actually incorporate into this section. So, so applying what I've already explained here is essential, right? Through regular exercise, proper nutrition, adequate sleep, and hydration. Spiritual, this dimension, whether it is religious or not, this is focused on finding purpose and meaning within your life. So whether that is family, kids, relationship, or work. But practicing mindfulness and other mind approaches that I recently explained on previous slides can also be incorporated here. And the intellectual is about engaging in creative and stimulating activities to expand your knowledge or skills. So this is through work, through hobbies, or just improving on something that interests you. So for example, being in this presentation right now, you are learning something new and developing skills. So this course is helping you with your intellectual dimension. All right, so to continue on, we have environmental. So environmental, this focuses on living in harmony with your surroundings, right? So maintaining a safe living space, appreciating nature or what your town or city has to offer, or even just living in a clutter-free environment. So in this dimension, you can even use guided imagery to see what it is that you want your surroundings to be, and then make those goals to achieve it. The financial dimension is about managing resources and planning for the future to reduce your financial stress. So there are many resources out there through the military, through the VA, through the government that can help you manage finances and minimize any financial burdens. So definitely look that up to help you with this dimension if you are suffering in this dimension. The social dimension focuses on building and nurturing supportive relationships, whether with your friends and family, your unit or platoon, or opening up your social circles to find new communities. Now, remember, I did say supportive. So if there is a group or a person that is not supportive, then take note, and you want to find ones that are going to balance out this dimension for you. And the emotional dimension is about the awareness, the understanding, expressing, and management of your emotions in healthy ways. So utilizing the mind approaches that I mentioned earlier would be beneficial here. All right, so now it is your turn. So you can either grab a piece of paper or just take notes as I am continuing to talk. And when you have free time, take a, take note, do a checklist of what it is of when you go through each of these dimensions. So let me move my head out the way. So basically, we're going to go down the list, and I want you guys to think of what it is in your life that is facilitating this particular dimension. So if you realize that you're already doing it, so for example, physical, all the stuff that we talked about at the beginning of the presentation, physical, are you active duty and you perform unit PT every day and you think it is good enough and beneficial for you, then great. Your physical dimension is checked off, and now you can move on to the next dimension to ensure that your wheel is balanced. So the reason why wellness wheels are wheels is if you look at it as a bicycle wheel, and if you have a divot somewhere in that tire, then you are going to notice that there is an imbalance. So we want to find a way to balance out this wheel and ensure that we are living as optimally as we can. So now to look at the physical aspect that is not being taken care of. If you are a veteran and you have kind of allowed excuses and you've realized you do not work out as much as you should, then this is when you want to either go back into the presentation that I have added in the chat box, and utilize one of those techniques that I've provided to help with this dimension. All right, and then we're just going to continue on the list. Again, you can continue listening to me so I can help you find one or two things to facilitate this dimension, or just continue on. Now, this is something that you are going want to come back to, right? So throughout our life, we're going to find ourselves in different phases. So whether that is having a new baby, being a new relationship, being on deployment, coming back from deployment, no longer being in the military, there are many different things that we are going to go through. And so ensuring that your wheel is balanced is what's going to help you feel comfortable and at peace with your life. So, a few tips. If you realized as I was going through my presentation that some strategies filled multiple dimensions. So, for example, yoga is a physical activity that can also be be used in the spiritual practice dimension. And this also incorporates the emotional dimension. So if you attend a yoga class at a local gym, then you're also incorporating the social dimension. So you can see that certain things can facilitate multiple dimensions. And so people think, oh my goodness, there's so many different dimensions. I have so much to incorporate, but not necessarily. Finding a simple strategy that can incorporate into your life and facilitates multiple dimensions is very beneficial. All right. So now, thank you for your time. And if you guys have any questions, you can either ask in the chat box, or after this, I'm going to provide my email and you guys can reach out that way as well. Okay, so I have a question on here from Brandy. She is asking, do you have any more suggestions on the emotional or environmental dimensions of the wellness wheel? Yes. So with the emotional, again, the emotional aspect is to live in harmony with your emotions. Okay. So, whether this is if you feel that you need psychotherapy, participate in that. Get that therapy that you need. But there are also some things that you can do on your own term. And you will notice that a lot of the mind approaches that I provided you guys, whether that is guided imagery, meditation, mindfulness, participating in something like a hobby that is of interest to you, such as gardening, sewing, going to the shooting range, those things are just naturally going to help you emotionally because you're going to have somewhere to put all those emotions that you have into that basket. And so when I was mentioning that you can participate in one strategy and it's going to facilitate multiple dimensions, right? So if you were to, going back to the example of participating in a hobby, okay? So if you were to use this hobby and it is physical in nature or it is developing you intellectually, then this is going to facilitate multiple dimensions and it's going to dive into the emotional as well. Now, if you're referring to emotional as in stress buildup, right? Stress, anger, fear. That is when you are going to want to work on meditation or mindfulness and figure out what it is that causes these issues. What are the root causes and what helps you to minimize these? Okay. You said emotional. Okay. So diving into these is what's going to help that. And like I said earlier, guys, is I have provided the PowerPoint presentation into the chat. So if you guys go to the chat, you'll be able to download that and to use that. And you can also make notes and even just keep it. So when you want to go back and say, okay, she brought up something, I can't remember what the dimensions are, look at that PowerPoint and that will give you some things to do. And going back to the emotional and mental aspects, looking at some of the things that I've already provided. Go through those, see what works for you, see what doesn't. There's different techniques that you can use to find out what works for you. Everybody is different. So thank you for that. All right. Well, thank you. All right, and thank you so much for your time and attention. For any questions, like I've said, I've provided my email right here. Please feel free to reach out. And I've also provided some references on the following slides if you would like to learn a little bit more about specific things that I discussed. So thank you.